Hey there, happy Tuesday. It's time for coffee and cursey words. Of course. I hope you have coffee. I have coffee. My voice is, well, tired from all of the live streaming I did last week, to be perfectly honest. Today, we are talking about the JoJo Siwa swatting incident because it's, legally related, and it's always a good time to have a conversation and remember that swatting is nonsense. We are going to talk about the recent Supreme Court dismissal of the emoluments lawsuits. I got a lot of questions about that. And when do we get to talk about mootness? Like, never. So we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about the FTC coming in like ballers. So I'm excited. The FTC's sassy, you guys. I enjoy some good FTC sass. So we're going to cover 3 topics real quick today, then get into questions and of course have a little chat. So let's just get into it. Hi there. If we haven't met yet, I'm Emily D. Baker. I'm the badass lawyer, host of the Emily Show podcast, and I am a legal commentator breaking down the legal shit behind the news and pop culture stories that we all want to talk about. I have been a licensed attorney for over 15 years, but this is not legal advice. I am a big fan of the cursey words, so headphones are recommended. This is where the law nerds unite with facts, not fuckery. I am so partial to my music. I just am. When I started the podcast over a year ago, I was like, oh, I need music. And so I found a composer literally on Fiverr and was like, I need podcast music. And we worked together to create that intro music. And it's just like, every time it still makes me happy. It still makes me happy. I'm just like, bah, 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 bah. So how are you guys doing this Tuesday? It's so amazing to see over 1,100 of you here. Y'all are the best. We actually here in Middle Tennessee have like really strangely warm weather. We had thunderstorms last night that were kind of fun, totally different than what we normally get. Not totally different for Middle Tennessee. Totally different for my family that's still used to living in Southern California. We have only been here for a few months. So it's just like, the weather is so exciting to me. I'm such a fucking nerd, you guys. I have a little weather station in my backyard. I absolutely love it the most. I am so old. I love tracking the weather. I look out my window to see what the neighbors are up to. Like I'm one step away from having a police scanner, like for sure. But we're maybe out far enough in the country that it doesn't matter. So we just have, I know you guys are getting storms all over the country. My friends in Phoenix yesterday were like, there's snow. And then I have a friend in Reno who's just like, oh my God, there's so much snow. And she sent a picture of her like puppies playing in the snow. So that is now saved on my phone as my own like midday palate cleanser. I'm just like, oh, puppies in the snow. They're adorable. But then my brain is like, but then what happens when you take the puppies inside? Like, are they all wet and soggy? Like, I've never owned a dog. I've never had a dog. We've never had a pet dog. I've had pet rabbits and my beloved cat who passed before we moved. But yeah, lots of snow. It's just really fun to watch it. So for all of you that are snowed in, I'm sorry, be safe. It's just, Jen Gerard said it snowed. It snowed at her house briefly. In California, that's wild, Jen Gerard. That's amazing. It's so good to see everybody. For everyone watching on the replay, hi, replay crew. I appreciate you. There will be timestamps at some point down below as we get into things so you can hop from topic to topic because Coffee and Cursey Words is our time to chat. But before we chat, we have a ruling that we have to make, and then we're going to get into today's little topics and then just do Q&A. So if you guys do have questions, I will let you know when it is questioning time so we can do questions so I don't lose them in the stream. So we need very, very, very much to get into today's ruling. But I see Jackie once in the chat. Hello, 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 hello. It's so good to see you guys coming in. Okay, we have a ruling. We have to do, it's Tuesday. We do this on Tuesdays. Court of public opinion, you guys. We put the court of public opinion up on Fridays and ask a question. We discuss on stream towards the end of the stream on Fridays. Then I put the polls up on the socials and we continue having a chat on social media. I thought this week would be a little bit more controversial. This one was a knockout, you guys. This was a freaking knockout for court of public opinion. So if you are just catching this one, court of public opinion this week was toilet paper. Does it go over or under? We have previously covered such controversial topics as, is a hot dog a sandwich? The court of public opinion ruled that it was a standalone category. And is cereal supposed to go first in a bowl or milk first? And we ruled officially on that one, cereal goes first. Remember, the court of public opinion's for fun. It's for fun. We have fun with it. But this one, there's like actually patents and stuff. So it seems that the law nerds have ruled overwhelmingly toilet paper goes over. So if this is a battle in your home, the court of public opinion has ruled. It seems the acceptable reasons for it to go under are for slowing your roll, literally, if you have kids or pets. That seems to be the under slowing your roll. There are some articles that I found that said over is more hygienic because if it's under, you have to like touch the top of the roll to push it. But I should have brought a roll to demonstrate. But if it's over, you can just pull the end part that's going to go in the toilet. You don't have to touch other things. I don't know if that was a COVID thing, but under, apparently you have, or when it's under, you have to touch the roll up high. And so that might be touched and not used. With over, you can just pull the bottom bits. So all of the law nerds agreed. Well, not all. This was not a blowout. We still had 15% say under, and there were reasons. We had an amazing breakdown. Wait, I need to shout out who this is from on Twitter. This is from Photo Maven on Twitter. Thank you, Photo Maven on Twitter. Correct, incorrect, lazier. No, I would say like house with children, antisocial, psychopath. This is for fun. This is for fun. We're joking. My roommate is a dick. Posh wipe, vegan, and Uno reverse. I appreciate the Uno reverse. It's almost like an upper decker, but not an upper decker because it's on a toilet paper roll. It's way too early in the morning to talk this much about poop. But you guys had some of the greatest comments on Twitter, so thank you so much. I appreciate it depends on the type of holder. The hook at our house makes the roll fall off when trying to use if it's over. And that is, I want, like, who does that? Who puts in something where you can't choose the way you hang it? But I get it. So I appreciate you guys. Has to be over. Looks nicer. A lot of you, I know you're my people. I know you're my people because a lot of you said if you put it over, then you can fold the little ends and make it feel like the bathroom is clean and fancy. So I appreciate that so much. I love that you guys love the meme. It's over there if you want to grab it. It's on the Twitters. I'm at the Emily D. Baker. If you don't follow me on Twitter, if you do, thank you. I appreciate it. Also, we had to do a check-in because last week we were pushing to 80,000 subs and we got there on stream or right after stream. It was so exciting. But you guys, we're almost at 81,000 subs. Like that's probably going to turn over just with the natural way of the YouTube things during this stream, which is really exciting. And I love bringing you guys along on the journey. Those who don't watch often are like, why are we shouting out sub counts? Because we're playing along on the journey. So we're going to keep our eye back there. I'm pretty sure it'll click over during stream. If you're not sub, just go ahead. Anyway, we have ruled that toilet paper goes over. That is what the court of public opinion thinks. Of course, a lot of you are rebels, law nerds, and you're like, I don't go with the court of public opinion. I do it my way. That's fine. Call a hot dog a taco. It's up to you. Some of you are already seeing 81,000 on the front end of YouTube. That's very exciting. So at some point, this this will click over while we're here and it should make a little noise. Did I buy the Revlon brush? Do I love it? Oh yeah. Desi, thank you so much. For those of you that don't know what that is about, the Revlon brush is in my Amazon store. It pops through the scroll and it's in my descriptions. It makes it so much easier to dry your hair. It's faster. It doesn't hurt the shoulders. You don't have to do like it's one thing and it works for most hair types. So it's very exciting. Welcome to the channel, Jake. Hello, JP. Thank you so much. Jennifer said over is the only acceptable way. I mean, those of us that have strong feelings about it, it can get into the loading the dishwasher the proper way kind of correct. It can be like, this is the right way for me. And it really bugs you if it's not the right way. It's one of those, like, some things don't bug me and I'm like, do it however. And some things really bug me. The toilet paper is one of those things we used to be under because of pets. And then as the pets got older, we switched to over. And I've got to be honest, you guys, these are deep secrets. We are split over under in our house because my youngest, if it is over, is just like whoosh, and it's all the toilet paper. But if it's under, he can't pull as much. So in the bathroom that my little guy uses, it's under. In the rest of my bathrooms, it's over. Passenger shaming is also love. Look, the Revlon brush is life. I feel like it's a cult secret that all women should know and that we need to pass along to others. Aussie Annie, I did not know that Revlon tests on animals, and I will absolutely look into that. Hopefully their hairdryer is not tested, but I have not looked at that on makeup. Because there's really no need to test on animals for makeup anymore at all. Like there is no point at all. So thank you for that. Teresa, I refuse to accept this ruling. Teresa, you are welcome to. It is just the court of public opinion. So you are welcome to say, I am a rebel. I do not sway to the court of public opinion. It's everything. You guys, the court of public opinion has been so fun. We'll have a new one this Friday. Can't wait for our fun, sassy debates. I'm going to pin a comment on Twitter and I will post it again on Instagram as well. But the rating system that we came up with for fuckery levels, we came up with a color-based DEFCON level system. And I wrote it down so I don't forget. And I'm going to put it up. And then at some point, I am going to eventually make graphics. But the lights will correspond to our fuckery level instead of our DEFCON level. So what we came up with as a group on Twitter and on Instagram was green would be some fuckery. Green's we're on the scale, but it's low level fuckery. It's just a little bit. We're not even on the scale today yet. Just a little bit. Yellow is going to be a fuckery advisory. Be warned. Be warned, the fuckery is on the way. Orange is going to be fuckery afoot. Oh, we see it coming. We see the fuckery. We see it. We see the fuckery coming. And then red is our what the fuckery level. So those are going to be posted on Twitter. So now we all have a ranking system for our fuckery levels. So we know, and we can do that for sure. So Grace, thank you so much. Came for the KJT, stayed for Emily. I appreciate that. We do cover all kinds of topics here, and today is no exception. Deborah's getting very controversial. So if a quesadilla is a sandwich, then isn't a burrito a sandwich? Because the tortilla is the deciding factor. But then if a quesadilla isn't a sandwich, what's a grilled cheese? Is it a sandwich? My husband also hates the way I say sandwich. So there's that. Victoria, thank you so much. That's very sweet. We will we will continue sandwich conversations. The background's orange and purple. We are not at DEFCON level today. I promise. Today we are not even on the scale. There is no fuckery afoot from any of this. I do not know enough about the Kellyanne Conway situation yet to talk about it intelligently. I need to look into it. If we go with she intentionally posted a nude of her underage daughter up on the Twitter, we will have to go to a yellow fuckery afoot level and then talk about that. So I don't know enough because again, if it was hacked, then it's a different thing. And I am not familiar enough with it because I was reading Supreme Courty things. So I am going to have my eye on it. I will talk about it on social and go from there. So I do not know enough about the Kellyanne Conway stuff. Question, can you break down the Rudy Giuliani defamation case? Yes, that is going to be for next week. I am going to break down, without political speculation, I am going to break down the 2 Dominion defamation cases next week. I'm going to do both of the complaints because from what I've seen so far, there's a lot of kind of overlap in the way that the complaints are drawn up. And I'm going to break down both the Giuliani case and the Kraken case. You know what I'm talking about. Her name. I totally just blanked, but the Kraken case, we're going to do that. Question, have you seen the Law 360 article on the Giuliani case? I have not yet because that is for next week. So first up, we are going to talk about swatting JoJo Siwa. So for those of you not familiar with JoJo Siwa, I'm not hugely familiar with JoJo Siwa. I'm lightly familiar with JoJo Siwa. From what I've gathered, look, not a stan. I don't know all the things. She has a tremendously large personal brand under JoJo. She has very tight ponytails with the bows. She was on Dance Moms. She has, I think, music and dance. She seems like a very positive influence in kind of the teen tween space. She is now 17 years old. She recently came out on Twitter. She had or on social media, not just on Twitter. She had a series of posts kind of indicating that she may be gay or bi. She has not given herself a title. I am not going to title her, but she came out and shared that in her Instagram post, she had a shirt that said best gay cousin ever. I shared that on Twitter. Very excited for her speaking up. And I talked about it I was like, is it weird that a bunch of people are talking about the sexual orientation of a 17-year-old? And a lot of you gave me feedback saying, you know what, we need to not conflagate sexuality and sexual orientation. And her being comfortable with herself kind of becomes the overriding point. And I take that point and appreciate it because yes, absolutely. She is sharing, again, being comfortable with who you are. And that seems to be her, kind of her brand and her mission. So she came out, she did one Instagram live, and during that Instagram live was swatted. And I'm going to just show you some of the photos from that and talk about what swatting is. I don't necessarily go by JoJo's definition of swatting, but again, JoJo was sharing her experience. JoJo is, so she was on Instagram live. Someone called the police. And this is done quite frequently in the gaming space. I hate all the ads on Daily Mail, but also they have the photos and they have them attributed. Like, Jesus, Daily Mail. Oh, wait, can I don't have my viewer mode. Otherwise I can strip it, but I can't. It's okay. That's what we get. Good job, Emily. So she said it was, no. Wait, Travis Barker's dating Kourtney Kardashian? I have questions. We're going to get distracted. Damn it, Daily Mail. What happened to my JoJo Siwa story? There it is. So I hate the dailymail.com, but they have all the photos. Tons of police vehicles showed up to her home, ordered her to come outside. She was on live. She went outside and then she did another Instagram live talking about the experience. I will put the links to the stories in the description. This is the image I was talking about where she shared on her Instagram and it was shared on Twitter. So that's generally the circumstance. Swatting is a practice that kind of came up in the gaming community, but has happened to celebrities as well. But the live streaming social swatting came up with gamers. Before that, swatting was something that was done to celebrities. So celebrities would get swatted when they were at home or away from home to try to get them out of their house, or just to say, hey, we know where you are. It was a way to terrorize people and to show them that somebody knew how to access you. It also is hugely disruptive and can be hugely disruptive. So with swatting in the streaming era, again, swatting being making a false report to try to get SWAT and or police to come to somebody's house, generally with SWAT to try to get someone to break into the home while someone is streaming. So the goal being, hey, you're live streaming and we're swatting your house. And then the people who called the SWAT can watch it go down, which is why it came up in the competitive kind of online gaming to fuck with one another. So that is kind of where we've gotten to with swatting. It started in the celebrity space. It started coming up in the gaming space. And then it started moving into other spaces with people live streaming. So people are asking, didn't swatting start with gamers live streaming? It started with celebrities getting swatted and getting police called. In the streaming space, it became better known with streamers and gaming streamers, and then it kind of bled out from there. Swatting is tremendously dangerous. It's illegal. It's resource intensive. People have died in swatting incidents, as I've talked about this in other videos and podcast episodes about it, but people have gone to wrong homes. People have been killed by police in swatting incidences, things like that. So swatting, illegal, awful. JoJo was saying that she believes she was swatted because she had just come out and this was her first live stream, which is just appalling to me. And it smacks of being kind of hateful. I find swatting, from my experience, to kind of fall along the same lines as arsonists when I look at the goals and when I look at the way that it plays out. A lot of arsonists tend to do the things that they do for the public notoriety and attention, and to watch it covered on the news and to watch what happens from them. That seems, from my experience, to be a similar desire with swatting. You want it to be seen, you want it to be known, you want to watch it happen. But JoJo said that she believed it was because she had come out. She had just done her first stream and was on an Instagram live stream when this happened and the police arrived, and that she thought and speculated that it was the paparazzi, because she said, I get swatted, I get out of my house, and now there's the paparazzi here taking pictures. That was her perception. I don't know if that is who called or if that is what happened, but she was live streaming at home. Tons of police showed up. She said over 50 police car showed up and ordered her out of her house, hands up, everybody come out. So swatting is just awful. And it's a tremendous issue. So I saw a great question from Diva. Diva, generally for police procedure, when someone is calling in the type of swatting incident, it is a urgent, it is a hostage situation, it is a medical emergency. They call in something to dispatch to make sure that dispatch A, sends people, and B, doesn't alert the people in the house. Generally, the police from dispatch don't have access to those phone numbers to call the home, because the person inside the home is not the one calling. So the police's only response really is to respond to the home, because if they don't respond and the call was legit, then you've got other problems. So I know that most departments are dealing with how they handle swatting. It is something that police work on, and they do trace back those calls. So yes, the people, when they track down the people that made the call, yes, they can be arrested, and then they are charged for absolutely all of the police time and effort. And then if damage is done or for emotional distress, there can also be a civil lawsuit as well. So that is my thoughts on JoJo Siwa. It is horrifying to me. One, she's 17. Like, why the fuck are we terrorizing a 17-year-old on the internet? Two, the first live stream after she comes out, she gets swatted. Like, what in the fuck? It just, that's appalling to me. And it seems like someone, to me, is trying to intimidate her, which I don't like at all. Let her be her. So yeah, let her be her. Let her be her. No need to swat. It's a gross practice. I feel like it kind of grew out of the bling ring striking at celebrities. Britney Spears had been swatted back in the day and others. So I feel like it is a, back in the day kind of a situation. But then it seems to have grown out of like a mix of terrorizing celebrities and like jackass. It seems like there's some mixture of that thought in there. So we have 3,000 people in here. Sam, I didn't see you, but hello, dear friend. It is good to see you. JC asks, can someone get charged for some degree of murder for swatting if the person dies? Unfortunately, it depends on so many factors, but there are some levels of manslaughter that in some jurisdictions are negligently causing. It really, really just depends. But unfortunately, it's without a specific circumstance. And you know what? Maybe what we will do down the road is pull up the swatting cases where that has happened. I want to see how far in time those are to be sensitive to people who have dealt with that, and see what happened with those cases and then address it from a particular case perspective, because it's like, well, if this, then that, but if this, then that. And that's why it's hard to answer. But I can foresee a situation where that can happen. I can foresee where that can't happen. So it's harder when it's not the direct cause, but a relational cause. That doesn't mean it's impossible. So I hate it. Hey, y'all, I know. So lawyer, it depends. It's a safe answer 90% of the time. And it's with this, I'm not trying to be safe for sure. It's just so fact dependent and then so jurisdictionally dependent that I don't want to give wrong information. And yes, hello, Starlight. I have seen swatting happen on YouTube as well. So it, again, illegal, problematic, and it's just fucking appalling to still put people at risk and to waste resources. And we're in the middle of a pandemic, which is the one thing I did notice. Everyone who came out of JoJo's house didn't have masks on. And I was looking at the pictures and I was like, oh, it's weird to see everyone's face in the outside. And all the officers had their masks on to try to deal with it. I feel bad for JoJo. She did address it on an Instagram live after that. If you follow her, you can look at what she said about that. So JoJo has handled it very well, says Jen in Stitches, but she isn't the only one. Philly D was talking about how bad it has been for Roman Atwood. It was appalling. And it's been going on for a year for him. So Jen in Stitches, I really enjoy Phil DeFranco's content. I saw him talking about this, and the Roman Atwood stuff is, for me, different than swatting. It's stalking. The JoJo Siwa stuff is, swatting is generally an attention grab and then generally moves on. The Roman Atwood stuff is straight up targeted stalking harassment. And if we want to talk about that, you guys let me know in the comments, not in the chat because I will lose it, but let me know in the comments of this video if you want me to talk about Roman Atwood and stalking and kind of what some of the legal fixes are for that. I did have some experience in the stalking and threat assessment unit as a law clerk. So I'm happy to talk about that if that's something you guys want to talk about. But from what I saw on the reporting from Phil DeFranco and from Def Noodles on that, when they were talking about YouTuber Roman Atwood, they were talking about how the level of stalking. So if that's a topic you guys want to talk about, I will put it on the list and we will absolutely talk about it. The stuff Roman Atwood was sharing about it in his video was it was terrorizing someone in a both cyber and physical way. So put that in the comments and I will go through it and see if we want to talk about it. And then we will do kind of a breakdown on what that is and what you can do about it and how frustrating that is. I always because Roman has talked about it, I will watch his video and then watch the other reporting on it and then talk about it. That kind of stuff I tend to not talk about until the person has shared their story, because stalking is terrifying. It is harassing. And often the law doesn't always have a good solution to what the person is experiencing. And that is tremendously frustrating for people. So, all right. My mods are letting me know that I pronounced Jake Yonsei's name wrong. I'm sorry. Diva's like, no, girl, no. Do better. My apologies. This is what happened when I stream. I do absolutely pronounce things wrong, literally all of the time. So my apologies. Supreme Court. We're moving on to the Supreme Court and then to the FTC. Moving on. Moving on. Moving on. Moving on. Supreme Court and then the FTC. Supreme Court and then the FTC. All right, guys. Are we ready? Are we ready to talk about the Supreme Court? The Supreme Court has rejected essentially two. Let me pull up the article here so you guys can see it. Notes. We've got notes. Because I know there were a lot of questions about this, and people were frustrated about what was going on with this. So I'm going to give you a brief background. Now, look, we are talking about Trump. We are not talking about politics. Uncivil is right. The Supreme Court is the best tea for sure. I don't know anyone who was a Supreme Court clerk, but we need to find them and see if they actually made good tea at the Supreme Court. I bet they have good snacks. Because when I law clerked, we had to buy our own snacks, but I bet Supreme Court law clerks don't have to buy their own snacks. I bet they have really, really good snacks because law runs on snack foods. Like that's known. We are talking about the Supreme Court. Yes, the case involves Trump. We are not talking about politics per se. We're talking about what the Supreme Court did. Okay. Perfect. Supreme Court. Let's go. Here's what happened. The Supreme Court had before it two different emolument lawsuits. We will talk about emoluments in a minute. And just here's a chance for me to quickly plug the fact that I have a legal A. Oh, it made a noise. It changed. Yay. I don't know if you guys can hear the noise when it makes a noise, but it made a noise and it changed. Yay. So if you don't know, I have a legal ASMR channel. It's sorely lacking for more content. It's coming, I promise. But I have an ASMR reading of the Constitution of this fine United States. So if you want to hear all of the Constitution, you can. We are going to be talking about the Constitution and the Emoluments Clause in just a moment. I bring this article up from the Hill as just a visual aid because, hey, we talk about the things. Now, two lawsuits were brought against Trump from a group called Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, or CREW. The CREW. I mean, that's not the right crew, but the crew, not like not Motley Crue, like the other crew. They name themselves CREW. You get what I mean. Brought this case in federal court. It was working its way up to the Supreme Court to have a ruling. The Emoluments Clause has not been ruled on by the Supreme Court. There were three brought during this time period. One was already dismissed, and then these two were just dismissed for mootness. Here's what mootness means, and then we'll get into what emoluments mean. Mootness. Mootness means it doesn't fucking matter anymore. The point is moot. It doesn't, like, this shit doesn't matter anymore. There's no remedy for it. There's no solution. So cases have to be ripe, like juicy. Ripe means there has to be some way to resolve the thing, generally. When it comes to mootness, it means no. There isn't shit we can do about this right now. And that's because he's no longer president. So the point is moot. Nothing we can do about it. Too bad. So sad. We can't. Here's the thing. This is a perfect way to diffuse arguments with kids or people. It is just like, right, we're arguing, but that shit doesn't matter. So when my kids are like, well, he ate the last whatever, I'm like, yeah, he might have, but it's moot because it's gone now. So we can talk about it, but there's not much we can like do about it because it is moot. So mootness. There is nothing the court can do. There is no remedy the court can offer. It has to do, the suits were brought under the Constitution's clause regarding emoluments. So let me just pull up our fine Constitution and we will get into it. Here we go. Article 1, Section 9. We can all do it together. So the emoluments clause in Article 1, Section 9 is down here at the end. No title of nobility shall be granted by the United States, and no person holding any office of profit or trust under them shall, without the consent of Congress, except of any present emolument, office, or title of any kind whatever from any king, prince, or foreign state. An emolument is a benefit or a profit. The argument in these lawsuits was essentially that, yeah, but Trump has all these businesses, all of the Trump properties, all of the Trump hotels. So if a foreign dignitary comes to Washington and stays at a hotel in Washington, he is getting benefit because that's still his business. And this was a big deal when he first came into office. They sued over this literally like 3 days after he was inaugurated. It was right after he was inaugurated that these suits were brought. So the theory of the case essentially being, because he was still part of the Trump organization, he can still or could have potentially benefited from people staying at the hotels. So because of that, they sued saying, all right, if he's benefiting, shouldn't he step away? And for the entirety of the presidency and the last 4 years, there was this kind of ongoing argument. Well, until there was other shit. So this was bigger at the beginning and then all other shit. And then this was kind of not as big, but arguing that he really was still receiving money from foreign governments because he had hotels in other countries, et cetera, et cetera. But the Supreme Court has said, yes, we hear you, but it's moot. There's nothing more we can do. He is under the Constitution. This is a prohibition on sitting presidents. He is not a sitting president. The Supreme Court then went one step further and vacated this. So even the lower court's rulings are kind of getting like, this isn't precedent. This is all just moot. So if it happens again, it'll come up again. But as the Hill pointed out, this doesn't come up in court because most people don't push the issue. Like most presidents don't push the issue, and it's not an issue. Most presidents are career politicians and not business people, so they're not benefiting in some way. We will see if this comes up again with regard to family benefits in this presidency. I don't know if people will try it. They might. It seems that legal wrangling is now a part of our politics. I don't like that, but it seems that that's where we're at with this. So emoluments mean benefits or profits, and the mootness is just, there's no remedy the Supreme Court can grant under the Constitution because the Constitution says sitting. He is no longer sitting. Ergo, there's nothing we can do. So sorry, too bad, so sad is essentially what the Supreme Court has said in this. That's it. So yeah, emoluments. That's what it is. That's what it means. That's what mootness means. That's what it is. So we're just going to have to, that's what they said. And I get the Supreme Court saying, hey, this is coming up right as he's out of office. There's nothing we can do. We're not touching this with a 10-foot pole. So the point is moot. The takeaway from that is, if you are dealing with somebody who's just like, hey, I still want to argue over this point that there's nothing we can do about it. You could be like, you know what? The point is moot. So there we go. A tired millennial asks a fantastic question. Did they take 4 years to hear the case? It took 4 years for it to move through the court process to get to a place where it could be appealed to the Supreme Court. Guess what? We're going to talk about jurisdiction real quick. Don't all like vomit in your mouth at once. It's just give me a little. We're going to talk about jurisdiction for just a second. The Supreme Court has original jurisdiction over very few things. That means a case can go right to the Supreme Court. Little itty bitty amount of stuff. Most of the time, the Supreme Court sits in an appeals, position. They are an appellate court. They are the great final arbiter of the law of the land. And then they have generally regulations and procedure for what cases they take on an appellate level. Generally, there has to be some disagreement between other courts of appeals that need to be settled, constitutional issues that need to be settled, blah, 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 blah. So for this case, it needed to go to the first court, the trial court first. Shit needed to happen. After the trial court, it goes to the circuit court, the appeals court, the lower appeals court. And shit needs to happen. And then it gets appealed up to the Supreme Court. So it had to work its way through the court process. And 4 years is really not an unbelievable amount of time for that to happen. The problem is because it just got to the Supreme Court and it came up right as the issue was like, yeah, but not in office anymore. So it doesn't fucking matter. The Supreme Court was like, we can't. So the court process takes time to get a case up to the Supreme Court, and 4 years is actually fairly quick for a lot of Supreme Court cases. But I talk about the Supreme Court in the podcast. There's an episode of the podcast talking about the Supreme Court and how the Supreme Court hears things when the Supreme Court hears things. And I talked about that too. When Texas was trying to sue other states under the Constitution, because that was actually original jurisdiction. It was the states going, mom, Pennsylvania's doing some shit, mom. And the Supreme Court was like, I'm off. No, we're not. What we're not going to do is Texas tell Pennsylvania, no, that's not what they said. That's what I took. What the Supreme Court said is, yeah, we don't think we can hear that case. I wish they had taken it and then said why they can or can't take it, because it would have been interesting. But I also think it would have been more divisive. So they probably just said, no. Will I cover social media censorship? I have some and will more when I cover those lawsuits. But I have some. So we've talked JoJo Siwa swatting. We've talked the emoluments clause of the Constitution. Did any of you remember that there was an emoluments clause? No, right. Yeah, me neither, because it very rarely comes up. And 4 years ago feels like 187 million light years ago. And when I was reading the Constitution for the ASMR video, I was like, oh yeah. I remember the lawsuits that came up with regard to this and how much there was. And still, there was a lot of argument 4 years ago about how Trump should have stepped away from the Trump businesses because of that clause. It would have been interesting to hear the Supreme Court, it would have been interesting to hear the Supreme Court rule on it, to just get a kind of final decision on it. However, the Supreme Court very clearly does not do advisory decisions. They don't go, hey, we think under these similar facts in the future. They do actual cases and controversies. Because he's no longer in office, this doesn't apply to him any further. Therefore, it's not an actual case in controversy. Therefore, it is moot. Just like if your kid's like, hey, remember 3 years ago when you did this and blah, 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 blah. And you're like, moot. Or your parents, my parents do that sometimes. Hey, remember this thing you did when you were like 15? No, I don't remember, but it's moot. I'm 40 plus. So, all right, let's keep going. I'm going to look for a few questions. You guys are all talking about the Constitution. Can we lose our Second Amendment right? Can it be taken away? Jennifer, that gets into a whole lot of other conversations. Generally, the rights granted to us under the Constitution are our inalienable rights under the Constitution. That doesn't mean there can't be legislation on those rights, and then that legislation can go up to the Supreme Court. Let me see if there's any other questions. I love this. Anastasia is Greek for rebel. Yes, but I reread the Constitution in full every year, and I keep a copy in my wallet because I'm that nerd. Anastasia, welcome. You've been here for quite a long time, and I always appreciate seeing you in the chat. We know that you are a law nerd. Welcome. Not everyone does. No, emoluments, not like shea butter, Brandon Lee. I love that though. No, not emollients, emoluments. I love your sweatshirt and would love to know where you got it because I want one. This is probably Old Navy. If not, it's from Target, but it's probably Old Navy. It has pockets too. Like it has side pockets down here. I love it. It is very cozy. I feel like this is about, I have an appointment later today and I was like, look, I'm in real clothes. This is it. This is all we're getting. So, all right. Final time. When Emily says it's moot, what does that mean? Like, what does moot mean? So I think I covered it at the beginning, but if I didn't cover it well, moot means it is, that shit's irrelevant. I know that Octo had put in a thing in the chat, but moot is, hey, that shit don't matter anymore. There isn't anything we can do about it. It is moot. It is rendered not relevant, not rulable. Yes, there is a legal definition of mootness, and we could get into the whole doctrine of mootness. For our purposes here, that shit don't matter no more. There's nothing we can do about it. It is moot. So, I love this. RBG kept a copy of the Constitution in her handbag. I don't doubt it. She probably had the whole damn thing memorized too, because truthfully, if you go through it enough, it is not tremendously long. And when you're working with it on the daily, you know it. Just like in criminal law, there are not so many laws and statutes that you work with regularly. So in doing 10 years of criminal law, I was just like, oh yeah, no, we know what these things are. We know them by number. We know the separate parts of them. We can talk about them very, very easily. So mootness. If you guys want the full, here, we'll give you the full legal definition of mootness. I'm not even, Black's Law Dictionary is all the way back up there. We're not, I should do the whole, you guys make me think of good ideas. Thank you. I should do the absolute definition first and then the law nerds definition. So the definition from, Merriam-Webster, we'll bust out Black's Laws later, is a doctrine, the mootness doctrine, a doctrine in judicial procedure. A court will not hear or decide a moot case unless it includes an issue that is not considered moot because it involves the public interest or constitutional questions and is likely to be repeated and otherwise evade review or resolution. Does that answer for any of you what mootness is? Nope. It means there's it's irrelevant. There's not shit we can do. Jen and Stitches was like, there we go. Yeah, it's irrelevant. Shit doesn't matter anymore. We can't do it. Law nerds definition. All right, guys, we're pumping through topics. Now we get to some very, very, very exciting shit because there's something that I hate in this world. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about things that I hate in this world. And we're going lip gloss today. I love lip chapstick today versus gloss because I love it. When people type mute, it makes my head explode. That is it. Yes, it is not muteness. It is mootness. M-O-O-T. Moot. Mootness. We've all learned things new. Law nerd definition of mootness. We can't roll on that shit. That shit doesn't matter. Also, they use it for moot court in school where you're kind of arguing about things that aren't really to be decided. Michelle said, grew up as a cop's kid. Moot and statute of limitations was my main fallbacks in life. It's totally fair. I also say to my kids, asked and answered when they ask the same question over and over. I'm like, no, asked and answered, asked and answered, asked and answered, which is an objection to questioning in court. Okay. It is a moo point, like a cow's opinion. It doesn't matter. It's moo, Joey Tribbiani. Thank you, Catherine. I appreciate that, and it always gives me a good giggle when friends or other parts of pop culture give light to law. Like a cow's opinion. It doesn't matter. That's exactly right. It doesn't matter. Okay. I love you guys are on it. You guys are on a cow's opinion. I appreciate you. You are my people. Okay. 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 We're moving on. We're moving on. We're moving on. Except Judy is saying there is a minute. Judy, really? Really? See, I've got my phone off. I'm not in my email. I'm not going to see alerts. Okay. Let's pull up Pacer, and then we're going to talk about the FTC sassiness. But since we're live, we'll just pull it up and see what it says. Thank you, Judy. I appreciate it. We're going to just pull it up live. If we get to the FTC another time, we'll just get to the FTC another time. So let me just log in real quick, because if we get to the FTC another time, it'll be okay. But here, just while Pacer's pulling up. Wait, no, I don't want to be there. I want to be there. The FTC is finally cracking down on ticket scalping. And I think we need to come up for a better word than ticket scalping, but the FTC is cracking down under this regulation called bots. It is the, let me see. I've got it written down what the BOTS Act stands for, the Better Online Ticket Sales Act. And it's the first time they've enforced it. And I really, really, really love that they're doing that. So we will circle back to that, but it's not as timely as whatever is going on. So let me just pull up. No, this is not what we want. Pacer, be my friend. Be my friend. Do we need to switch the DEF CON levels, you guys? I feel like we need to at least be a yellow. I appreciate that. I feel like that's what we need to call it. They call it scalping within the FTC, but I feel like that's tremendously insensitive and appropriated. I'm not cool with it. So we'll go with illegal ticket resale. How about that? Can we go with illegal ticket resale? We're going to go with illegal ticket resale. Ticket gouging. Yes, R. Huff. Yes, I love it. Okay. And Ticketmaster does suck. So let me pull up the docket report. Let's get to fuckery. I think fuckery advisory, because we don't know what's happening yet. So we're gonna go all yellow for a fuckery advisory. We've changed to yellow. We might have to switch to orange. We don't know yet. We don't know. All right. Pulling up Pacer. Let's see. All right, 126. This is hard. Look, this part of Pacer is hard to read. I'm going to read it out loud. This is as big as I can make it. I'm going to do my best to make it as large as I can. This is where we're at. 126, minute order. This is from the court. Defendant's counsel has contacted the court by email. Defendant's counsel for all of us is Brown. Counsel for KJ and Without a Crystal Ball. In indicating that plaintiff's counsel would like an opportunity to suggest an alternative to the motion to seal that defendants are contemplating filing. Plaintiff's counsel may file a proposed alternative, if any, by close of business by today, January 26th, authorized by Judge Rothstein. Here's what this means. That there is a proposed motion under seal. We don't know what that is. There were some things in the last thing that we read filed under seal. So in the defendant's precipice, there were some items filed under seal. This sounds like the defense is proposing something else be filed under seal, and that plaintiff's counsel would like to suggest an alternative proposal. This is literally just the court saying, cool, do that today. And then we're going to just see what it is. Jamie, I appreciate that, but this is just the court clerk entering this in, the court saying, hey, we've received this communication from defendant. Because here's the thing. Let's just talk about lawsuits a little bit. Here's the thing. When there's a lawsuit going on, the court generally can't just communicate with one attorney or the other. The court needs to work with both parties. So with that, the court is not going to say, oh, yeah, you can just go ahead and let them know that I'm cool with that. The court is going to talk to both sides at once through this minute order. So the court has said, defense asked for this, plaintiff asked for this. I am letting you both do this. It is an order to the file. It is known there are no communications off the record. Communications off the record need to be applied for, and they're not off the record. They're without the other party. And those types of communication, the ex-party communication, meaning one party ain't here for this shit, like la 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 la, you can't be here. The ex-party communications follow very specific rules. They're applied for, and a record is made that it happened, but not necessarily what happened. To avoid ex-party without one party, the other side needs to be here for this shit. So without that, the communications like this are what you expect to see. Generally, the court clerk will email both attorneys at the same time saying, the court has a new order. This is what the court's order is. Thank you. And so that's all that says. It says that defendants' counsel is contemplating filing something under seal. So it sounds like something else is coming, and that plaintiff's counsel would like to propose an alternative to filing it under seal. So something is going on. There is stuff happening. If it gets filed under seal, we won't know. If it doesn't get filed under seal, we will know. Either way, there is a motion due tomorrow with regard here. Let me just pull this up since we have it up. We'll just do an update. We didn't plan on doing an update, but we'll just, wrong way, this way, make it big. But we'll just do an update since we're already here. And then I'm just going to go to questions because I have to be out of here at 1.5 hours streaming today because we have stuff we have to do today, unfortunately. So this minute order, and yes, I call them minute orders. All the judges I ever worked for called them minute orders. So yes, minute orders. The court is in receipt of defendant's motion for status conference and email. Remember, this is not the precipice. This is other shit. This is the motion for the status conference in the Tati Westbrook defamation case saying, Your Honor, we need a meeting. Tell them not to do this stuff. So that is another motion. There's a video. We'll link it below if I don't forget. The court is in receipt of defendant's motion for status conference and email correspondence. That was regarding stuff that was going down on Twitter. The court hereby modifies the briefing schedule, meaning the court is changing their standing order and saying plaintiffs shall file a response no later than January 27th. That's tomorrow. Defendants may file a reply no later than January 29th. That's Friday. So there should be more coming with regard to the status conference. We don't know what the minute order is regarding. If the under seal goes to the status conference, if the under seal goes to the latest precipice with regard to Lorianne. So we don't know. We'll see if we find out. We'll just see. We'll just see. So Lady Law, I love your image, asked, how did something get left out of 221 pages? So the minute order on this filing under seal could be related to that, but it could be completely unrelated to that. It could be related to the status conference. So it could be related to anything. So I'm not going to speculate. Ashley, thank you for bringing me back to reality, to breaking things down. A confidential filing or a filing under seal is confidential to the court. It means that it will not be publicly available. There are rules for it. There are things filed under seal in the defendant's latest motion. I don't tend to speculate about what's under seal. In the Haley Page case, there are a number of things under seal. From that case, it looks like the under seal portions regarded trade secrets like business secrets and finances. So how much was paid, how much the money is. The court has access to that, but the public record does not have access to that. That also happens in criminal law. It happens in juvenile cases. It's not unusual. There's procedure for it. You ask the court to file it under seal. You generally break down for the court why it needs to be under seal, what it is. Often search warrants will be filed under seal if there is informant information and things like that. So lots and lots of reason to file something under seal. If the court approves it, then it will be filed and it will say that there was a filing under seal. And then even if you try to access it publicly, it'll be like, nah, boo, you don't have permission to view that, which is totally fine. So this could be with regard to some other shit. It could be with regard to the motion for status conference. It could be with regard to the precipice. We don't know. There is so much happening here that we don't know. Sonia asked, wonder if they are trying to seal the case. If they are, then they are. That would be putting the whole case under seal. Then there would be a ruling saying that they're putting the whole thing under seal. So we'll find out. I mean, we'll find out if we're meant to find out what the court decides to do. We'll just see. I'm going to go see if there's any questions. If the motion from Brown is under seal, is Salty Alternative proposal also under seal? Only if the seal is granted, Bex. That's a fantastic question. So it just depends what the court decides to do and decides if it needs to be under seal or not. Though also, if defense has they are proposing a motion. So this says they would like an opportunity, or they are contemplating filing something under seal. So they're asking the court, can we file this under seal? Plaintiff has an alternative proposal. They're trying to work together to figure out how they want to present this to the court. But it can be, because this isn't filed, it's contemplated. It can be that if the court denies it under seal, that the defense might choose not to file it and say it's not worth it. So we will see. I'm going to talk briefly about the FTC. Nope, there's a lot of questions. We're going to do questions. The FTC will have to wait. Would they seal the entire suit? At this point, they could seal stuff going forward. They're not going to go back and seal back stuff that's already out. Generally, courts don't seal entire cases. They seal parts of cases. So could they try to do that? Yes. Would the court grant that? Unlikely at this point. Cases are supposed to be public. Court proceedings are supposed to be public. There are reasons for things to be under seal, things that are not known to the public, things that are particularly damaging, like business trade secrets in the Haley Page case, things like that. But even in the Haley Page case, some of the stuff under seal is literally just a black line with an emotion. It's like, this sentence is under seal, that sentence is under seal, but it's not the whole thing. So, do you think something related to mental state could be filed under seal? That would be an appropriate thing to file under seal if, depending on what it was. Medical records sometimes are filed under seal. So it just really depends on the circumstance. So I'm going to go through and ask some questions. Claire Murphy said, could Salty have discovered, I'm going with who the hacker is or where the hacker is, but I mean, always possible. We haven't seen anything filed with that. My investigation on that is not done yet, but with that, this is defense counsel's bringing it to the attention for a motion the defense is contemplating filing. So this is regarding something that KJ's attorney wants to do, not something that Salt's wants to do. I don't understand why most always choose to take the hard road ahead. Wasaga, I don't either. Sorry, it just caught my eye. Question, why are they requesting something to be under seal when jurisdiction hasn't been settled yet? Sophia, I don't know. It hopefully is related to the jurisdictional motion. I still am curious as to whether the request for the status conference is acquiescing to jurisdiction, because it's asking the court to take authority of the case in a particular way. But if, fantastic question, by the way, but if the court is if it's related to the jurisdictional motion or if it's related to all these precipes, then it's appropriate. If it's regarding the OSC, it's not saying that if it's regarding the OSC, it's not appropriate. If it's regarding the OSC, do I think then it's acquiescing to jurisdiction? Maybe, but that's going to be the court's determination, not mine. So, question, if they seal the case and KJ talks about it, are there repercussions? So I am what I am. This is a fantastic question. There is a difference between sealing and we're just going all Civ Pro. Law students, mount up. Like trial procedure and civil procedure and like the practical stuff you never talk about in law school, really. So documents being filed under seal in a lawsuit are different than a gag order on a lawsuit. A gag order is a shut the fuck up order. Gag order means do not talk about it. Now, it's interesting to me because whenever I think of gag order, and this was even back in law school days, I was like, do they mean like a ball, like 50 shading ball gag order? Like, is that where's the origin of why they called it a gag order and why they didn't just call it a shut the fuck up order? No, they're never going to call it that. It's just interesting to me that gag order is a term. Either way, a gag order is nobody's talking about this case. Nobody's talking to the press. None of the attorneys are talking. No PR people are talking. And then essentially it limits the reporting to what the documents are, which is kind of what we have in this case. What a gag order would do is mean that there could be no reference from the case by any active litigants and then no reference from the case by any of the attorneys. So you wouldn't see Salty talking about the case, though you might still see looking for evidence if stuff comes up. It just depends on what the order says. But you wouldn't see conversation from the parties or the attorneys generally involved in the case. Attorneys generally don't comment on the case unless it is a press statement or if it's responsive. So if there were a gag order, it would kind of take away the responsiveness from any of the parties. But motions under seal or filings under seal generally have information that is private, protected, or needs to be protected in some way, and then the court decides if it's appropriate. So Julia, same type of question. And this just jumped. I'm sorry if I lost anybody else in that. Would they seal the case without a gag order or have it automatically result in a gag order? So generally they just seal documents. They don't seal the entire case. So it would just be a particular document, not the entirety of the case. And then we just covered gag orders. Again, I have questions about why they call it that. I'm going to have to take a deep dive on why they call it that. No. Okay, Victoria, we're going to go over it one more time. We're going to pull it up one more time. Jesus, Emily, knock it off. Sorry. We're going to, you all are like, last week she was singing the Spice Girls. Yes, I was. So defendant's counsel has contacted the court by email indicating that plaintiff's counsel would like an opportunity to suggest an alternative to the motion to seal that defendants are contemplating filing. So what that very complex sentence says to me is that defendants, WACB and her attorney, are contemplating filing a motion under seal. That here's what I'm extrapolating from that this means the attorneys have had a meet and confer as is required by the court's standing order. The meet and confer would generally be defense counsel going, yo, we're going to do some shit. And plaintiff counsel going, okay, but before you do that shit, can we do this other shit? And then defense counsel saying, hey, Your Honor, we want to file this thing. But we had our meet and confer and plaintiff's counsel would like to suggest an alternative. Are you going to allow them to do that shit or should we just file our shit? That's what's happening. Then plaintiff's counsel may file a proposed alternative, if any, by close of business today. So that's by the end of day. And that's going to go directly to the court because it's regarding under seal. So we won't see that pop up and we'll go from there. So defense saying, essentially, we've met and conferred because now we know they've talked. We've met and conferred. Us defendants want to file some shit. We want to do that shit under seal. We don't want people to know about that shit. Just for the court. Don't need to be public record. It's cool. Shh, it's cool. But plaintiffs have an alternative. they would like to present to the court. So are you going to let them do that shit? And the court was like, yeah, do that shit by end of day. Like, what the fuck with you all? Emily extrapolation into that minute order. Let me get to some more questions. Could they put it under seal just to prevent social media talk? No. Or does there need to be a more relevant reason? Yes. So Miranda, there are rules about what can be under seal and what's appropriate to be under seal. Just because we don't want people to talk about it is not generally a good enough reason. There has to be something else. So, question, has it gone too far for the parties to back out of the litigation? S.J. Matthews, Emily opinion. We have gotten way fucking far afield. And I'm just going to compare and contrast to the Jeffree Star lawsuit that's going on right now with the estate of Anna Nicole Smith. The estate of Anna Nicole Smith has sued Jeffree Star Cosmetics with regard to a shade that they were selling called Anna Nicole that they say is very much derived from her iconic and signature lip color, that it was packaged with her face, things like that. Truth Sleuth has a whole video breakdown on it. It's a great video. Absolutely go watch her video regarding it. In that case, the complaint was filed, and then they filed an extension of time to answer. So Anna Nicole Smith's estate was like, yo, stop, collaborate, and listen. No, stop. Stop using Anna Nicole's name and likeness. At least I didn't sing the Spice Girls this time. We went with a different stop. Stop, collaborate, and listen. I suspect with a brand new invention. If anyone has questions about my ADHD, this is what living with me is like. My kids absolutely adore it. No, they don't. So Jeffree Star Cosmetic was sued by the estate of Anna Nicole Smith. Stop using her likeness on this shade. Then Jeffree Star Cosmetics filed a motion to continue the time to answer, meaning like, hey, Your Honor, can we just not go ahead and answer that yet? Can we just time out? Can we pause this litigation for a second? And then they filed an update with the court saying, Your Honor, we're going to go to mediation and try to work this shit out. We'll be back if we need you. So that is the procedure that you expect when parties are like, yeah, we need to try to work this out. Litigation's been commenced. We're going to go to mediation. You see that? Please don't make us answer this yet. Let's not waste the money answering it. That money might be better spent to just settle the case and go. And so in the Jeffree Star Cosmetics Anna Nicole Smith case, that's what we saw. A complaint filed, a, hey, can we have more time to answer? And then a, hey, we're going to mediation. We'll be back if we need the court to intercede. This case, on the other hand, we have had so much. Look at this. Look at this. This is 2 months. There is so much going on here since the 30th of October down here at the bottom. So much has happened that for the case to be resolved now, I would imagine that from the plaintiff's perspective, for the case to be resolved, they would want quite a lot. They would want retractions of all statements, public apologies, perhaps no more social media, for sure no more talking about it, and probably a stipulated judgment, which is what we've seen in some of the Girardi cases. A stipulated judgment being, I admit that I'm guilty of this. I imagine from the defense side, they're like, no, we still think we have defenses to defamation. Public figures hard to reach. We are going to fight the defamation tooth and nail. So if that's what you want to resolve, we're not resolving it. You've got to remember in this litigation, there's been 18 months, it seems, of pre-litigation with 4 cease and desists based on everything I've seen on social. And so given that, and given what's alleged in the complaint, if this was going to go to mediation early, generally you would expect it to take the track that the Jeffree Star Anna Nicole Smith case took. We've filed a complaint. Okay, you're on our timeout. We're going to see if we can mediate and resolve this. Let's all talk before we spend more money in litigation. That's not what happened here. What happened here is that there was shenanigans on social necessitating that motion to not delete your shit being filed. Then there was more conversation on social. Then there was the motion to dismiss filed, laying out kind of everything and taking more shots at plaintiff. And then the train derailed somewhere and now we're like falling off a cliff. So there's been so much litigation. I think we are beyond the point at this point for reasonable negotiations. I don't even know how these two attorneys would negotiate. Like, could you imagine what a room with Saltsy and Brown would look like at this point after the shit they've said back and forth in these motions? I can't even imagine. They've called each other unethical. They've called each other doing stuff in bad faith. They've called each other essentially liars in these motions. They've just, I don't think that would be easy for them to sit down and negotiate this case. I think we've gotten to the like, fuck you. Yeah, well, fuck you part of litigation, which is really early to get there. We're really early into the like, nope, whatever, fuck yourself part of litigation. But the motions read like that. That doesn't mean that behind the scenes that is the way that it is, but that's how the motions read, that these two have definitely laid the other out in their motions to the point where half of you in the comments are like, isn't this a defamation case about Tati Westbrook? Why are the attorneys fighting? Yeah, agreed. So that's a long way to answer that. New topic question, how to pronounce minute order. All the judges I worked, that is a very large helicopter. All the judges I worked for pronounce it minute order. Some people pronounce it minute order. I go with my standard practice because that's my standard practice. So I'm sure some people somewhere call it minute order. I've never heard anyone call it that. And I imagine if I walked into the courts where I used to work and was like, does the court have a latest minute order? The court clerk would look at me and be like, bitch, what the fuck are you talking about? I'd be like, the minute order. And they'd be like, then just say that. I'm busy, sweetie. Thanks. So, Arnie, oh my God, Emily, I paused you and I'm going to DM you on Twitter because the pause face was funny, but I'm not going to post it publicly. That's your call. Oh, Jesus Christ. I was probably talking about gags. Don't. Thank you, Arnie. I appreciate that. Can I see you use the lip saver? It's always so much fun. Yes, we'll get the lip saver out in just a moment. The thing is, lip gloss gets sticky on my coffee cup, which is why I tend to do just the chapstick when I'm doing coffee. But Michael, I will. Question: when is Google and Twitter bringing the receipts? We are ready. Yeah. I don't even think, with regard to the defamation case, we're not even there yet. Like, we're not even to discovery yet. We're not even to subpoenas yet. The only subpoena that's been mentioned in the discovery order was the subpoena for Lorianne's account. Because remember, there's still a discovery order in this case. But that was with regard to Lorianne. It doesn't seem that plaintiffs need to proceed on that because plaintiffs said in their motion with regard to Lorianne that she had turned over her social medias. Oh my God, there's so much in this case. But they have an order on file to stay discovery starting because normally there's timing. So they have a stay means we're going to have to say stop right there. Today, it's not even stop in the name of love. Today's stop, collaborate, and listen. So there is a stay to discovery saying stop until this is resolved. We're not starting discovery. So we haven't even gotten there yet. Like, we're so at the beginning of this, but it feels like it's been 1,200 years of my life, but we're still just at the beginning. E. Garner, question, the ticket reselling, touting. Have you seen a few years ago, Iron Maiden was moving for paperless tickets and showing ID and credit card to be allowed in the concert? I will look at what Iron Maiden was doing with regard to that so that when I talk about the FTC, which is going to have to just be another day. So undercovering hypocrisy, really, is this important enough to be under seal? I don't know what they're going to file under seal, so can't speculate. They feel that it is. The court makes that decision. One question still remains. Are we in jurisdiction? We still don't know. There's no answer. Question. I'm going with I don't watch, which is what I'm guessing, Jordan, Nate regularly, but why is KJ okay with him discussing things, but not you? I don't know why I was named and not the other attorneys covering it. Nate covers it. Uncivil covers it. There's a lot of other channels that cover it. I mean, I can't speculate as to why I can't speculate as to why. I don't know. But Nate and Uncivil cover it too. Others have covered it too. There's a lot of channels covering it. So I think for both Nate and Uncivil, it's probably good because with all of that has also come quite a lot of substantial threats on my Instagram and on my Twitter DMs. So I know Charlotte covered what some people have been receiving, And it's just, there's been a lot of death threats. So for everyone who's not mentioned, I'm glad for you because it's been interesting for sure. I would love to see Google and Twitter come forward with IP addresses to know if it was legitimate. Allison, from my end of what I've experienced, we are still doing an IP address investigation. So that's what I'm doing, and we will see. Question: how long does a hacking investigation take that involves death threats to lawyer, witnesses, and children? So Jesse Cat, on my end, and I can talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it in depth until I have some answers, but it can take some time to trace IP addresses that have been bounced through VPNs. So that's where I'm at. But when I have more information, you guys know I'll share it with you for sure. I have not shared all the threats I've received. What I've generally found in cases like this, when people make threats, they want to see kind of the outcome of those, and they want to see people talking about that. And it's being handled, it's being dealt with, and we're going to keep doing what we do here for sure. Sarah makes a good point. Gag bit depresses the tongue, but also like when you think about the doctor, like when they like do the little tongue depressor thing, I don't know. You guys, I'm so far behind. Let me catch up. Good to see you, Creep Show. Let me catch up to where we're at because I'm still going to finish my coffee and then I've got to run. Question: is there a limit of what parties can file before the judge has to rule on the motion? Generally there is. So generally you will see if you get like let's go with the motion to dismiss on jurisdiction, because 2 cases that we're talking about here have motion to dismiss regarding jurisdictions. The Tati Westbrook business partner case has one going, and then the defamation case has one going. So you would generally get the motion for the motion to dismiss regarding jurisdiction, essentially. Then you would get a opposition to the motion going, hey, you said that we can't do this shit, but we say that we totally can do this shit. So you're wrong, we're right. Meh. The case law really says this, and we really think this, and it's all good, and we're right and you're wrong, and the judge should rule for us. That's the opposition. Then the party who filed the motion, in this case, defense, then plaintiff's opposition. Plaintiffs are the ones who are suing you for some shit. Then you would get a reply from the defense going, yeah, but you said all that, but that doesn't matter because of this other stuff. So the judge shouldn't listen to you, and we're done. Sometimes there's a surreply at the end of that, meaning the other party can say, yeah, but in your reply, you said these things and you can't say those things in your reply. Because reply, it should go motion with case law and argument, opposition with case law and argument, reply saying your interpretation, your case law, your argument's invalid because of this, refer back to my original shit, my shit's good, your shit's whack, rule for us. The surreply generally is just, hey, they brought in some new shit, they're not allowed to do that, or hey, there's this kind of other thing that we feel was misstated. It's like a little baby reply, and that should be it. The reason it feels like there's so much in the defamation case is because there were multiple precipes, and the precipe from defense that we just covered, the entirety of the defense attorney's precipe declaration, because the precipe can only be a few pages, 3 or 4, maybe 5. The motion can only be a very few pages. So he, instead of filing a motion, filed a declaration that read like a motion of 100 or 211 or 221 pages. And so that's why it feels like there's so much in this case, because there is so much, but a declaration's not a motion. A declaration is not, well, this person opined this, and therefore it's relevant to that. It's really just them using the ability to file a precipe, in my opinion, to get out their other side of the story. Because it was we're not staying silent on this. They said this, we're saying that. And that has definitely pushed the pace of this case a little bit. So let's see. I'm going to try to get to a few more questions, and then we will keep moving because then I gotta go. All right. Raymond, oh, you're welcome. Charlotte has been receiving kind of the same, what I've seen, the same types of threats that we've been getting. Lisa, I have not been responding because most of the threats have been on Twitter, and the accounts go up and go down. So I have not been I've not been responding to them because, once again, somebody trying to threaten me by threatening my children, we're just going to deal with it with the authorities. Purple hair, here we come. Smash that like. Thank you, Michael, so much. And if you guys haven't done that, we're at 3,400 lawn nerds up in here. You guys are awesome. Let me see what else. Ellie, thank you so much, lawn nerds. Lady Law says, I find it strange they know exactly whom to target. Exactly who. Yeah, it's just been so. Faith Adams, I think you're exactly right. I think the judge is like, the judge is at the, I'm going to pull this car over and scream at both of you. Like, everyone's going to get screamed at. But I'm expecting more. We'll do a little housekeeping. I'm expecting more in this case because the minute order gave plaintiffs till tomorrow to file. So if we're keeping in tradition with how plaintiffs have been filing, that'll probably be late. They have until midnight to file. So there will probably be a late filing tomorrow based on these minute orders. If that's the case, I still need to sleep because my kids get up very early. So if that's the case, it will be covered the next day. The mods and I will chat about it. We'll just see what the timing is, and then I'll let you all know. I'll let you know on the Twitters. I'll let you know in the text group. I will let you know when we are going to cover stuff. And then if there's another filing on Friday, we'll just handle it during Friday Night Live. I am not going to be putting up a recorded video tomorrow because I am behind on recording because my voice has been very tired. So we're just going to kind of flow with the week. I will keep you posted. So there will not be a recorded video tomorrow at 11. There normally is. There will be a new episode of the podcast, which will be a podcast edited version of the Christine Snaps interview, which I'm very, very excited to share with the podcast audience. But we already have the video here. So the Raven White one said, question, what's the most mean mom thing you've heard from a judge? I mean, it's not fun when the judges threaten to fine you and report you to the state bar. I've told that story a few times here that I got in trouble because a jury was laughing because I was making faces and I was trying to control my face. The judge yelled at me and said, Miss Baker, I'm the only one allowed to be funny here. But the most awful thing a judge said to me was, I've not told this story in public. This is, we're all friends here. There's 3,000 of our closest friends. I was getting ready to argue a motion in court regarding a kidnap case. It was an awful case, sad case. The judge fucking hated me. She hated my ass. It happens. But we were getting ready to argue motions. The defense attorney in this case was lovely. The jury convicted. The victim was very empathetic. She was grabbed at knife point after work. It was awful. But we were supposed to argue motions. As I was driving to work, one of my oldest and dearest friends' mothers passed away. We were 30 years old at the time. Her dad had passed away a few years prior. And she called and she's like, I don't know what, like, my mom passed away this morning. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, I am going to put this motion over. I will be there as soon as I can, and we will figure it out. Because dealing with the death of a parent is surreal. And then when it's your second parent, there's then house stuff and life stuff and funeral stuff. And there's like, we're the adults now, like we're 30, we're not adults. And so I talked to the defense attorney, who was lovely, a lovely human. We got along very well when we did trials together. And he was like, it's fine. We can put this over a few days. Take care of what you need to take care of. And the judge was like, Miss Baker, we're not putting this motion over. I'm like, Your Honor, I I cannot argue this motion this morning. Defense is fine with putting it over. The defendant hasn't been ordered out of custody for this motion. The defense is fine. We've picked a date. Well, Miss Baker, why? And I was like, Your Honor, a very, very close friend's mother passed away. I'm going to go help her make funeral arrangements. And the judge looked at me and went, it's not your mother, Miss Baker. You need to stay in court. I'm like, Your Honor, this is a woman I've known since I was in like 4th grade. Like, no, this is someone who was there when I got sworn into the bar and at my wedding. Like, anyway, so she was just in my face. She's like, no, you're not leaving this court. I'm like, I'm leaving. And I walked out and she was fucking livid. As was my head deputy. He's like, you just walked out. I'm like, I did, because I didn't want to sit in court and cry. And so I needed a minute, because she's just going to yell at me more if I start to cry. And she was just awful about it. And the defense attorney's like, I don't know why she's doing this. This is wild. So judges can be very, very, very particular, especially if they're mad at you. And I imagine all these filings are going to make a judge mad at both sides. What VPN would I recommend again? We're gonna talk about that in another video. I have used both NordVPN and ExpressVPN. So I have used both, but I do have a NordVPN video coming. So, no, Mariz, the jurisdiction for the business case has not been ruled on. There are more motions coming with that, because in the business litigation, there has been a motion to dismiss. We haven't, and I haven't pulled it in a few days, we haven't pulled the opposition to that yet. So there's still more laud motion going on with the business partner case. So we'll find it out. We'll find out. I'm going to sweep just a few more questions, and then you guys, I really do have to run. I love seeing where everybody's coming in from, you guys. Diva, thank you for asking everybody. It's so, so fun. You guys, before we roll out of here, can we just get a huge, huge thank you to the mods for always holding it down and making sure that when people come into the topics, they know kind of how the Law Nerds chat work. They know how we work together. They know that we are a compassionate community that values conversation, not cancellation, that we are here for commentary. We're not here to judge, to speculate on people. We're here to just talk about the law, see what's happening, and keep it moving. So thank you guys so much for all the shout outs to the mod. Creepshow, I saw that you super chatted and I don't know where it went. It just disappeared on me. Creepshow said, I can't wait for jurisdiction to be decided so we can actually get into the meat and potatoes. Yeah, it feels like this has gone on for years. Creepshow, I agree with you. It does feel like it's gone on for years. There's been a lot of stuff that's happened in this case, because when you try to talk about it, it's like, and then this, and then there was this, and then there was this, and then there was that. A lot has happened. Most cases don't have quite as much going on. Some that we will cover will. You guys, we will see as we cover future cases. This is going to be a case that we refer back to for sure, because we're going to say, look, remember this case went like this, and then this case went like this. Even the Haley Page case Haley Page has made a few statements about that case, but in a very PR statement kind of a way. And then she made the documents available. And there's just even though these are both the defamation case and the Haley Page case, both seem to be contentious cases where people have high emotions on both sides. There's a different way that these cases have been discussed and handled. And so we can absolutely continue to juxtapose those cases, because the Haley Page case is going to be a legal battle over that Instagram account and over her name. But the way it's being handled online, Haley's made 3 statements. They've been clearly crafted kind of PR statements, and they've been statements to her community and endearing her community. I think she's handled it very, very well. But that's different from what we've seen in the defamation case. So you guys, thank you for all the love to the mods. Thank you. Literally couldn't keep what we do here going without our mods. They are so fantastic. Lady Law said, what's the average caseload for a lawyer? Oh, it just depends on, I hate that answer, but it really depends on the law firm they work for, the type of law that they do. if they're criminal, if they're not, where they work. I mean, as a DA, I would cover or handle 30 plus cases at a time. When I got into more serious cases, when I was just running a regular court, it would be 50 to 75 cases a day. But it was definitely a lot of processing information. When you're looking at somebody like Saltsy, and I think Brown is a higher level partner in his firm as well, they're going to be handling a few cases hands-on, depending on the stage of the procedures, and then their associates are each going to be handling cases for them. So a partner might have, 60 cases that they are managing, but the associates are doing those work, and the associates will have far fewer cases. So it just depends on the state of proceedings, because then if a partner is the one going into litigation, if they're the litigation partner, once they're in trial, they're just focused on that trial. The associates are handling the rest of their caseload. And then for associates, it really depends on location and firm size, how many cases they're handling. So attorneys can handle quite a lot for sure. I hear you. If you're coming in, you better come say hi to the law nerds, honey. I know you're coming in because I've got to go. You're coming in to physically actually tell me to wrap up. Well, you've got to come say hi to the law nerds first. Do you guys want to say hi to B? Come on. Come say hi. You look very handsome. You look very handsome. You can pick your side. You've just got to come in close enough so that they can see you. Because you're don't worry about the headphone. You have a headphone. You're very cute. You're like a 20-year-old skater with that. Where'd it go? It was adorable.
Well, I went to Trader Joe's, so I wanted to listen to my book.
Of course you wanted to listen to your book. I do too.
My earbuds always run out of juice.
You should charge them once in a while.
No, they still do, but the battery life seems to be nil.
We need more new AirPods for you.
Yeah.
Did I give you my old ones? Is that why they're dying? Or did I give T my old ones?
I always get the old electronics.
B gets the old tech. So Dr. Badass, look, we hit 81K while we were live.
Really? Did it ding for you?
It dinged. It was so exciting. All right, law nerds. Yes, Dr. Badass, I do need to go. Wait, say goodbye.
Bye, law nerds. Bye, people.
All right, you guys. Thanks. Normally, Dr. Badass only pops in on the Instagrams, so I'm very, very excited that he got to come say hi. But he did just go to Trader Joe's this morning because he knew I was live. So it is kind of the best. He is very sweet. You guys, we have been married for, how long have we been married for? We have been married 18 years. We have been together like 22 years. So he has known me in all of the versions of the Emily. And we talked about that a little on Instagram Live the other day. We did a live together in the car and talked about music and concerts and things we'd done, which is why I was really excited to talk about what they're doing with the illegal ticket resellers. But alas, another day. I appreciate all of you so much, law nerds. I appreciate it. I will take it, Ellie. I do get DMs about Hot Hubby. I think he's much better looking than I am. There's times when we go out and I'm just like, damn it, why are you all dressed up looking all hot and shit? Like you make me step up my game. So you guys, housekeeping, and then I'm going to go. Tomorrow, there's not going to be a new video live at 11. A lot's going down this week. We are for sure going to have more stuff coming out. There will be a new episode of the podcast audio only. It is the Christine Snaps interview kind of sliced down for the podcast audience. So that'll be available on your podcast players tomorrow. I anticipate having a new recorded video for you this week, but we will see how off the rails stuff gets and how my voice is. Then, there will be Friday Night Live. I imagine if stuff comes down, we might go live one more time. So that's why I'm trying to space so the mods don't have to mod a premiere video as well as a pop-up video. I'm going to talk about pop-up video for Fuck Ever. I loved it so much, but I can't do that now because I've literally got to go. So we will just keep it rolling. If you guys are on Twitter or in the text crew, then you will get updates if we decide to ride live. North America, textemily.com. On the social medias at theemilydbaker.com. And I will keep you in the loop when we go live. I appreciate all of you. Thank you, law nerds. I will see you soon. Connect with me everywhere. I'm at the Emily D. Baker. If you guys want to join the text, just textemily.com. If you want to join the channel, lawnerdsunite.com. Happy to have you. Support what we do here. on the YouTube